From across the nation and around the world, for Pacifica Headlines, I'm Jesse Lent. The sound of troops from Lebanon's army arriving in the southern Lebanese town of Zatar al-Gharbia on Tuesday after Israeli forces withdrew from the area, according to a senior Lebanese security official, in line with a U.S.-brokered plan. Footage and reporting courtesy of Reuters. This local resident told the news agency that he will have to wait days to be able to return home.
We have been waiting since the morning. We are waiting for the Army's decision to allow the residents to enter the town, as the Army promised that once the engineering regiment finishes its work, the residents may be allowed to enter. But so far, as we've been told, the engineering regiment hasn't finished yet because there are explosive devices and unexploded ammunition. It seems that things won't be resolved, neither today nor tomorrow.
Yesterday, President Donald Trump pledged to help Lebanon, quote, a lot during an Oval Office meeting with the country's president, Joseph Aoun, who's seeking peace following months of attacks on what the Israeli military says are Iran-backed Hezbollah fighters within Lebanon. On Wednesday, Trump said he had little interest in peace talks with Iran, according to the PBS NewsHour, as the U.S. bombed Iranian targets for the 11th consecutive night. Iran's military forces launched additional retaliatory attacks on the countries of Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. Yesterday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told lawmakers that the U.S. and Israel's joint war on Iran, now in its 145th day, has cost taxpayers an estimated $37.5 billion in a highly contentious Senate Appropriations Committee hearing. Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York and Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana were two of several committee members who expressed their frustration with Hegseth and the way the Trump administration is prosecuting the war.
The words you have used in the past don't add up. About Iran specifically, you said that we had obliterated, quote unquote, Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. The president made the same claim. Yet 8 months later, in February of 2026, the president launched an act of war claiming Iran was within 2 weeks of having a weapon. So when you say two very different things, the American people don't know who to believe or what to believe.
Part of the reason President Trump had to have the courage to do what he did after Midnight Hammer is that they didn't give up their ambitions even though their nuclear sites had been obliterated. So this is a regime hell-bent on nuclear ambitions, and President Trump's been willing to go after them.
According to the New York Times, Hegseth's Defense Department is requesting an additional $70 billion in emergency military spending to cover the costs of the Iran war and pay for new weapons and military personnel. The Trump administration plans to announce later today that it has reached a broad nuclear agreement with Saudi Arabia that could lead to the country enriching its own fuel for nuclear reactors, U.S. officials told the Times. Israeli leaders reportedly opposed the move, fearing Saudi Arabia could use a civilian nuclear project to develop nuclear weapons. France's parliament has approved a law to ban social media for anyone under the age of 15 starting in January. The country becomes the first in Europe to block young people from the online platforms, according to the BBC. French President Emmanuel Macron has welcomed the move, which he had pledged to introduce to commemorate the end of the decade he has spent in the office. Speaking yesterday in France's Senate, just before the bill was approved, the country's Minister Delegate for Artificial Intelligence and Digital Affairs, Anne Leana, praised the legislation. Footage and translation courtesy of Reuters.
By limiting continuous screen time, we protect their attention span, their sleep, and their mental well-being. We also give them the opportunity to rediscover other forms of social interaction, debate, reading, and direct exchange, which are the very foundations of citizenship.
And Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced yesterday that the Trump administration is suspending more than $1 billion in Medicare funding to California and Minnesota over concerns of what he describes as, quote, suspected fraud and noncompliance. This follows a $243 million pause in the federal government's Medicaid payments to Minnesota earlier this year. Footage courtesy of Reuters.
Under my authority as HHS Secretary, we are expanding the exclusion authority. Now both CMS and the Office of Inspector General will be able to use that authority to remove bad actors from federal health care programs and in many cases to permanently ban them from returning.
Those are the latest Pacifica headlines for the Pacifica Network. I'm Jesse Lent.